welcome in. Happy Friday. It is Friday. Sorry for the delay. I was doing a bunch of stuff, switching a bunch of files around and getting everything kind of set up for the future episodes. But thank you. Thank you. Excuse me. Hang on. There we go. Allergies hit me hard last night. So, we got plenty to talk about today. We have got plenty to talk about today. The reality is that last night was probably one of the dumbest, oddest, and really all around just let down games that there were that I've ever seen. Especially for opening week. It was bad. It was bad. And when I'm watching this game, I really start questioning how much control that these two subpar coaches have. One of my friends who's an Eagles fan messaged me last night and said, "Am I watching a UFC fight with football or what are we doing here?" Because it was awful chippy. This wasn't a week 16 winner gets the division title, losers out of the playoffs. This was a week 1. And the chippiness of the game last night really confused me. I love adrenaline. I love emotion. But something was off. The game wasn't anything I thought it was going to be. Now, to be very clear, and I've had this opening for the podcast for a long, long time. Since the opening kickoff, basically, of last night's game. We've all known that one kid that regardless of talent, regardless of circumstances, always acts bigger than life. We see him in the grocery store all the time. And we always go, they just need a little bit more guidance. Well, that's Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter last night almost single-handedly lost the game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know what you're thinking. Some of you may be thinking, now come on, Hawk. One player can't lose the game for the entire team. Really? Did you watch the sigh of relief on the Cowboys bench when he got ejected and kicked out of the game? Did you see the game plan on the offensive line completely change from double teams to now believing they could block the Eagles' pass rush? They believed they could run. They believed they had more power now without him in the lineup. I fully believe, and I said this last night, Jalen Carter is closer to Ndamukong Suh than he is Aaron Donald. He is not a professional. He was laughing about it when walking off the field. Laughing. You just got kicked out of a game, the opening game of the year, a chance to make your footprint and your mark, and you get ejected and you're going to laugh while you're walking off the field, you should be in tears because of your own stupidity that's hurting your teammates that you're leaving behind now. You don't have to put your body on the line for the next 60 minutes, for the next 3.5 hours, which turn into 4.5 hours. You get to go chill out and relax now because of a bozo move you made. Jalen Carter should, and he will be suspended. He will be suspended. Whether it's for 1 or for 2 more games, I do not know. The NFL will want to make an example of him. This year's focus is on player treatment. Respect in the game, player treatment. You can trash talk. You can go back and forth, but do not disrespect your opponent. Do not disrespect another man. Your mama taught you better. Jalen Carter failed. He failed his team, his coaches, his owner, and he failed the city of Philadelphia last night. And even in the interview afterwards, I don't think he really feels any remorse. Suspend him, take away his money. Maybe he'll pay attention a little bit more. Unfortunately, I doubt it, because these guys make too much money. So, what did actually happen last night? Let's look at the stats. So, here we go. It was actually a lot worse than... It's a lot worse than I originally thought it was. Not going to lie. It was bad. It was bad. So, when you look at the stats, let's start with the Cowboys. So what we have is Dak Prescott going 21 of 34, 188 yards. That's a 5.5 yard average, by the way. No touchdowns, no interceptions. 21 of 34. Jalen Hurts goes 19 for 23, so only 4 incompletions, but also only 152 yards. A 6.6 average. In the running game, the Broncos had a total of 22 rushes for 119 yards. Javonte Williams had 15 carries for 54 yards, 3.6 yard average. Basically what he averaged in Denver. 2 rushing touchdowns. For the Eagles, Jalen Hurts actually was the biggest rushing leader. They had 38 total rushes as a team for 158 yards. Jalen Hurts had 2 rushing touchdowns. Saquon Barkley had 1. Jalen Hurts had 62 rushing yards. Barkley had 60. The game actually was pretty poor. The second half, I know the weather played a factor in this, and I get that. But at halftime, you're sitting at 21-20. The Eagles march down, kick a really long field goal, take a 24-20 lead, and that was it. Now, the long hour weather delay, which I have watched countless reactions of fans complaining about this or that. Listen, you can't play around with safety. You cannot play around with safety. It takes one fan getting struck by lightning or it takes one of those big ginormous lights getting struck by lightning, injuring fans to, I mean, Jeff Lowry's got money to have considerably less of it, though, after that. The NFL has a lot of money. They will have less of it after that. Safety has to be a number one concern. Does it frustrate us as fans? Sure it does. Was it the right thing to do? Absolutely. Protect the people that support the game, protect the game and the players that play the game. Protect all of it. You have to. Period. If it was just raining, they aren't stopping anything. And honestly, if it was just raining, the game probably would have ended the same way. So, all in all, the second half was absolutely dreadful. It was awful. And, everybody was, Chris Sims, Garrett, McCourtney, they're all commenting on it, going, it's really hard to get ramped up again. Well, you're kind of paid millions of dollars to be able to make plays. Now, I do want to make comments on a couple things. Number one, CeeDee Lamb was targeted 13 times. He had 7 catches for 110 yards. Everybody's going to focus on the catches at the end of the game that he missed. I'm not. He was being evaluated for a concussion, and he should have come out before that second drop. The first drop, his head, I believe he had a concussion the first drop. I really believe he had a concussion that first drop. The second one for sure. So I am not going to put this loss of the Cowboys on CeeDee Lamb. Not at all. He is a professional. He's taking blame for the 2 drops. That's why I believe he is the best receiver in the NFL. Yes, you heard me. CeeDee Lamb, from a professional standpoint on your team, I will start with Lamb over Chase and Jefferson every day. CeeDee Lamb is a professional wide receiver that loves the game, respects the game, plays the game hard and the right way, and had a really good night. That simple. So, the other thing is, I don't know what to make of either one of these defenses. I'm really not sure. The Cowboys actually got a sack. The Eagles got no sacks. Now, once again, Jalen Carter's out. For the Cowboys, there was obviously no Micah Parsons. Whatever. But the defenses didn't really look correct. And from everything that had been said last night, I believe there are moves coming for the Philadelphia Eagles to get another corner. They don't like Adoree Jackson. The rookie, they've got to give time to work into position. Cooper DeJean is not going to be a corner. They're going to continue to play him at the nickel safety position, nickel back, nickel safety position. They love him in that role. With that being said, they're going to make a move to get another corner opposite of Quinion Mitchell. They will make another move. I fully expect it. And honestly, after last night, I think it's warranted. And I really do. I really think it's warranted. And they probably do need to make that move. But all in all, Eagles get the W, which is what your job is, get the W. The Cowboys can't close it out late. Schottenheimer's play calls were, whatever. Sirianni, once again, really horrendous play calling on offense. I mean, just bad. bad play calling on offense. Remember, Hurts was the leading rusher, and a lot of those were scrambles. Both of his touchdowns were off of scrambles, off of broken plays. So I still kind of feel good about my picks for both teams. I think the Eagles take a big step backwards because Sirianni's play calling is awful. Sirianni and Shane Steichen's play calling styles are a lot alike. They're not that clever. They're not that intuitive. Okay? And it's going to be a reason. I mean, A.J. Brown had 1 catch for 6 yards last night. A.J. Brown, 1 catch for 6 yards. There's a problem. You didn't even get A.J. Brown the ball. I've got a lot of questions about both teams. After that game last night, they both played extremely hard. Rivalry game, opening night, you could tell the Cowboys came out with a chip on their shoulder. Nobody gave us a chance. Jalen Carter gets ejected. Then the Cowboys really are feeling themselves going, we got this. We can absolutely play in this game now. And you could tell they were ready to go. You could tell they were ready to go after that. And the Eagles ended up pulling it out. All right. So, it is not a sports show unless we talk about sports. So here we go. 10,000-foot view of sports. Before we get to the picks, before we get to everything that we need to know for this weekend, here we go. Let's just go over a couple different things that took place last night. Major League Baseball, we had some series finishing up. The Philadelphia Phillies blanked the Milwaukee Brewers 2-0, giving them a big series win over Milwaukee and really kind of showing there is a weakness in Milwaukee. If they don't have a little bit of luck go their way, their bats aren't really strong by themselves. We've noticed this. Another game was the Yankees won 8-4 over the Astros, taking another game from the Astros. At the same time, the Tampa Bay Rays beat the Cleveland Guardians, which is actually a huge game when it comes to the wild card. The Royals beat the Angels 4-3, and the Dodgers lost again to the Pirates 5-3. So coming into this weekend, we've got some of those really odd series. We got the Mets and Reds. We've got the Blue Jays and the Yankees. Then we've got the Giants and the Cardinals, which has a lot of wild card implications on it. The Astros and the Rangers. And you got the Arizona Diamondbacks hosting the Boston Red Sox. So this weekend series will be absolutely huge as we continue to move towards the end of the year and towards playoff baseball. And when you look at everything, and it's really good, and then you look at some stuff that went on in the WNBA last night. Number one, Caitlin Clark is going to miss the rest of the season. There has been a parallel drawn between her and Michael Jordan's early on careers. She's been getting beat up. I fully believe the Fever are being very careful because they rather have her for all of the future than to have her for just this year. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Now, last night, this was big. The Phoenix Mercury won their game over the Mystics 75-69. The Golden State Valkyries won their 5th in a row 84-80 over the Dallas Wings. And then the battle of seeds 1 and 2 currently, the Las Vegas Aces and the Minnesota Lynx. The Las Vegas Aces won their 13th in a row last night. 97-87. Now, my pick was the Lynx. I've had that locked in for a couple months. My pick was the Minnesota Lynx. The Aces definitely have something there, okay? The Aces absolutely have something. So we'll see how this season ends up playing out. Remember, it ends next Thursday night. All right, here we go. Got to switch to the other one. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Hawks Pick 6. So every Friday, I will pick 6 games. It'll be 5 random games and then the Colts game. And obviously when the Colts are on bye, I will pick a 6th game. So I don't like picking the big odds games. I really don't. I don't want to pick the 6.5, 8.5 point games. So I prefer to keep it at 3 or less. That's what I prefer. It's not always possible, but that's what I prefer. Well, I've got them. They're sitting right here in my notebook. So here we go. We've got a couple of these games that are really, really close. And I'll tell you what, I like how each one of these teams is playing out. So every week, I will do Hawks Pick 6. And then I will update that board right there. Okay? That'll be what I update every single week. Now, with that being said, go back to the main screen. With that being said, I want to do these winners and losers. So each week I'll give you my 3 favorite spread bets on Thursday. On Friday, I will give you my pick 6 for the NFL, and then I'll give you Hawks 5 for college football. This week we're going to take a break from college football because there's only really one game, and that's Michigan at Oklahoma. Week 3, we got a lot of big games back. So for this week, we're going to take out college football because everybody's playing cupcakes in week number 2. So we're going to take out college football, and we're going to focus on the NFL. So I'm going to do Hawks Pick 6, and then I'm going to give you an extra pick to be able to watch, and it's going to be the Sunday Night Football pick. So here we go. Starting with tonight's game, actually. The Kansas City Chiefs are 3.5 point favorites currently over the Chargers tonight in Sao Paulo. And if Rashawn Slater was healthy, I would absolutely pick the Chargers here. Full transparency. I had the Chargers winning this game until Slater got hurt. I believe it is that big of a deal. I believe having to shift the offensive line around with Karlaftis and Jones is not good if you're the Chargers. I believe their defense is okay, not great. They're going to have to work in a couple things. And I just think at the end of the day, the Chiefs will be better. I know I've been on them all off season. This is a game that has flipped because of injuries. So I am taking the Kansas City Chiefs over the Los Angeles Chargers tonight in Brazil. Now the next game, we have the Buccaneers and Falcons, a week 1 division rival again. Right out the bat, 1 p.m., Fox. Buccaneers, new offensive coordinator. Falcons spent a bunch of money on defense. Colliding These are the two best teams in this division, and they've got to prove it. The Buccaneers are a 1.5 favorite, 1.5 points. I'm going with the home team. Week 1, I like home teams more. The Chargers and Chiefs, there is no home team. It's in Brazil. This game, it's in Atlanta. I feel in Atlanta, new offensive coordinator. We don't know how he feels the game. Remember, I don't argue Tampa Bay's roster. I don't argue against any of the skill players they have. I have said all offseason, does the offensive coordinator hit the same way as Dave Canales and Liam Cohen did? That has been my question all offseason. There is a huge question mark for the Detroit Lions with most everybody because of the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. It's a legitimate question. Brian Schottenheimer last night calls 4 or 5 plays that absolutely just boggled my mind. And then Sirianni does the same darn thing. It matters. It absolutely matters. I am going to go with the Falcons at home. May only win by a field goal. I think it's going to be a gosh darn great game. Don't miss it if it's on in your area. Falcons win over the Buccaneers to open this year. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3, the New England Patriots are home against the Las Vegas Raiders. Mike Vrabel coming back home. Pete Carroll coming back to the NFL. Geno Smith and Ashton Jeanty. Drake May. Right now it says Ramondre Stevenson on the depth chart. It's going to be Drake May and Travion Henderson very, very soon because he's a lot better than Antonio Gibson. And Stevenson will just be the big back. I really want to see both these running backs play. The defenses, I think, are going to be a little bit off. You got brand new players coming in on both sides. I think this could be one of those games that also ends in a 24-20, 27-24 scenario. And I am really looking forward to watching both teams. And once again, I'm going to go home team week number 1. I've got the Patriots over the Raiders. West Coast team going east week number 1. I think the Patriots take this game, but it's close. Patriots are only 2.5-point favorites. I think that's about right. I'm going to take the hook because I think they'll win by 3, but nonetheless. All right. That's my 3rd pick. My 4th pick. You guys know I've been high on the Seattle Seahawks all offseason. And wouldn't you know it, all of a sudden, on Friday morning, Christian McCaffrey is on the injured list with a calf issue. Sound familiar? Does it not sound like what happened last year? I'm sorry. They know they're required by the league to be accurate with their final injury report. And guess who's on there? Christian McCaffrey. Calf issue. He needs the calf to be able to run. He needs that calf to be able to cut. Really? We're going to do this again, San Francisco? Jennings is on the injury report. McCaffrey's on the injury report. The defense lost a lot of playmakers. I am picking the Seahawks, who are underdogs. Currently, still underdogs by 1.5 points. I'm taking Seattle. I like what Seattle is. Clint Kubiak for the Seahawks is a Kyle Shanahan disciple. He's going to run the ball. Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, I believe both of them have outstanding years. I believe Smith and Jigma will have enough of a deep field presence. Cooper Kupp has the possession ability. Elijah Arroyo rolling out off of play action. Look for him to be huge as a tight end, a rollout. I'm going Seahawks. Seahawks are my pick. I like what this team is. I really believe that this team is ready to take this division this year. Do not sleep on the Seahawks and do not sleep on the Cardinals this year. I believe both teams are absolutely ready for this year. Are absolutely ready. All right, so there's the fourth pick. What is my fifth pick? My fifth pick, this is a little bit of a different pick. And this is only because the lack of what I have seen. I have not seen Matt Stafford. I have not seen Matt Stafford. The Los Angeles Rams, it has been known that their home games are not necessarily as much of an advantage because everybody comes out to California. There's a lot of different fans in Cali, and it's pretty diverse out there. Okay, it's not a huge home field advantage. The Texans have a defense that can disrupt the Rams very quickly. I believe McVay comes out and he tries to run the ball early. The left tackle for the Rams, I have big question marks just if he's ready to play. Matt Stafford, I have even more question marks. Is he ready to play? Back issue, practicing, not practicing, injured, not injured. Really been mum on a lot of what's going on. I think the Texans, and this is not what I originally did. Guys, if you know, all offseason I've been raving about the Rams. There is not a team in the NFL that could go 14-3 and win the Super Bowl, but also go 3-14 and have a top 3 pick like the Rams. If Jimmy Garoppolo is their quarterback, the season's done. They're going into next year, drafting their new quarterback. It fixes their cap potential issues, and they're looking really good. They'll be able to pay some of their defense while their rookie quarterback is basically free. This team has boom or bust. It is a wide array of what potentially could happen. And I went from them being one of my Super Bowl favorites to I don't even have them in the playoffs in my final prediction. And it's because of Matt Stafford's back. It's because of the health on the offensive line. I do not want to play around with blood clots, okay? Their left tackle is an outstanding left tackle. I do not want to see him get fatally hurt playing football. I don't like messing with blood clots. All that aside, in this game, the Texans know that nobody's really giving them a shot. The Texans know defensively they can disrupt this game, and I believe they will. I believe it's going to be low scoring, and I think Houston pulls this out. This is my upset of the week. They are 3.5-point underdogs as of right now. This is my upset of the week. I think Houston can pull this game out. And I think they've got it. And this gives them a big boost for the season. Getting this win would be a huge boost for the Houston Texans. So there's that pick. The sixth pick, before we do the extra point, every week I'm going to pick the Colts game. I said that. Who do I pick this week? The Dolphins, Colts, the Dolphins, the Colts. You know, I have deliberated on this for 2 or 3 weeks at this point, and I still hate the pick. I have gone back and forth and back and forth and back. I'm going to go Colts. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to go Indianapolis Colts. I don't know why. If you ask me, why would you do that? I can't tell you the answer. I guess here's what I'm thinking. The Miami Dolphin defense, I believe, is so bad that Jonathan Taylor should be able to run the ball, shorten the game. I believe Josh Downs will be able to take the quick screens, get yards after the catch. Tyler Warren will be able to do the same thing. And at the end of the day, you're going to look up and both teams are going to have barely over 300 yards total. And the game's going to be one of those where the clock just starts going down. I don't like the pick either way, but every week I will pick the Colts game. I'm going with the Colts at home to get a W. It goes against conventional wisdom. They're a 1.5 favorite. The Dolphins defense really alarms me, and I think Mike McDaniel is already losing the team. The Tyreek Hill issue, I do believe, is a big issue. Him not being voted as captain, I believe, is actually a telltale sign. Look for him to get traded at the deadline. If anybody will take the part of his contract away. But I'm going to go with the Colts. I don't know why. I just think between the two teams, I trust Daniel Jones and the Colts offense more than I trust Tua against the Colts defense. They'll make plays. There'll be big plays. Devon's going to make a play. Waddle will probably make a play. But I think the game's going to move pretty quick. And that's just kind of how I'm leaning. So I'm going to go with the Colts. I can't believe it. I'm going to go with the Colts. All right, so there's my Hawks pick six. Just to recap, I've got the Chiefs over the Chargers tonight, Falcons over the Buccaneers, Patriots over the Raiders, Seahawks to beat the 49ers, Texans to upset the Los Angeles Rams in LA, and the Indianapolis Colts to win their game against the Miami Dolphins. Now the extra point. Since we're not doing a bunch of college this week, I'll give you one more. And then I'll give you my one pick for college, the Michigan and Oklahoma game. The extra point. Sunday Night Football, I cannot wait for this. The reality is, the Ravens have never had this deep of a defensive team in 10 to 15 years. They've got names on the defense. The question is, do the names step up and play? The Buffalo Bills are home. They are hard to beat at home. The Ravens just lost there last year. I don't know necessarily. This, to me, this feels like the Ohio State-Texas game from last week. Both teams are going to be there at the end anyway. This game matters for one reason. Home field advantage, potentially in January. This game is already looking at January. for home field advantage. That's where we're at with this, okay? The Bills are my Super Bowl pick. It doesn't mean they can't lose a game or two. My gut tells me that Josh Allen will outplay Lamar Jackson again. I do not like the Bills receiving core against the Ravens secondary a lot. The matchups don't look great. But I believe Khalil Shakir, if Allen is able to get him the ball on the bubble screens, will be able to make moves, because the one thing that those Ravens named players do struggle with is open field tackling. They're great at defending the pass. They're great at playing the zone. But open field tackling is their issue. I think Shakir breaks one. Cook runs one in. Allen runs one in. I think it's an outstanding game to close out opening NFL Sunday. And I'm going with the Bills. I'm going with the Bills over the Ravens. I think the Ravens will be ready to play them if they were to rematch in the playoffs. These two teams are amazingly well matched. I love both of these teams. The organizations are outstanding. I like the Ravens coaching staff better, easily. The Bills just have the best player in football. Josh Allen is the most talented, best football player there is in the league. Period. Bar none, no argument. And in an opening week game on Sunday Night Football, I just think he gets it done. Just the heart, he knows how big this game is. The heart gets it done. That's my pick. That is my pick. So I've got Chiefs, Falcons, Seahawks, Patriots, Colts, Texans, and Bills. That's my Hawks pick 6 with an extra point because it's week number 1 and we're not picking a bunch of college. All right, so let's go to college. Michigan at Oklahoma. From what I saw last week, the Michigan offense looks a little bit different. Michigan's offense looks a little bit different. But there's also another thing. Oklahoma's offense looks a little bit different. And I believe that Oklahoma has the better defensive coordinator at this point to be able to make the defensive stop and that play call that's going to confuse Michigan over what Michigan has. So I'm going to take Oklahoma at home against Michigan. That's what I'm going to take. Oklahoma at home against Michigan. Now, Iowa State also plays Iowa. Let's pick that game real fast. I like what Iowa looked like. They've got a real quarterback that can run. Iowa State wins that gritty game overseas in Ireland over Kansas State. They play a cupcake. They're back. Rivalry game again. Cy-Hawk Trophy on the line. I just love Kirk Ferentz. I've always loved Iowa. Every player that comes out of Iowa is fundamentally ready to play in the NFL. They are sometimes one of the most boring teams to watch, but I'm going to go with Iowa making a special teams play to beat Iowa State. Iowa to beat Iowa State. All right. There's the picks. Now, I want to go over one more thing. I don't know if you guys saw the story yesterday. If you haven't, go read it because this is what everybody was wondering when Bill Belichick took the job at North Carolina. North Carolina, Belichick has banned the Patriots staff, the scouting department, from watching North Carolina practices. North Carolina has limited what scouts can view of the practices. Not college scouts, NFL scouts. This is going to go south really quickly. If you remember, I did the panic meter on Wednesday for North Carolina, and I said, yeah, you can panic. It just doesn't look good. Well, now it looks even worse. How, as a college football coach, can you, in any moral or integrity standpoint, restrict the ability for your players to make it to the NFL? This really makes me mad. And at some point, this could blow up into a potential legal issue. Don't put it past these players. We've got players now suing NCAA over the red shirt rule. Don't put it past Belichick and his idiotic ideas now, because it's not the NFL. This is college. These kids aren't pros yet. They're trying to make it to the NFL. They need the scouts to watch them as much as possible to be able to be drafted from a school like North Carolina. Your job is to get them to the NFL. That's your job as a college coach. And Belichick, guess what? You are failing. Your stupid ideas that worked in the NFL 20 years ago aren't going to work. This whole restrictive access, your attitude about how you set up, plays on the depth chart with players and not giving them this, you're worthless. There's one thing that I've always said about Belichick, which I'm not so sure of now. He respects the game. Do you? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong that he actually respects the game of football. That he respects the sportsmanship and gamesmanship of football. I know he cheated a bunch. I'm aware, but I thought he still at least respected the game and wanted to help young men. I thought that's why you took a college football job, to help young men reach their dream of being in the NFL. That's what I thought you were doing. I was wrong. You're banning. The Patriots have Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels. It is an awesome organization to go to if you're a rookie coming out of college. And you want to ban them because you're a cranky old man that has evidently a vendetta against his former employer. Give me a break. The kids deserve better. I don't like it. I frankly hate it. You can probably tell. This absolutely gets me riled up because the kids are the ones that pay for the bozo decisions that an old, out-of-touch coach makes. Michael Lombardi got called by ESPN and basically got shoved off. This isn't going to go well. If you're North Carolina, if I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel football fan, I would be worried about the team just stopping playing. Because the only time you're getting seen is during a game, and you probably don't really feel cared for outside of that. He brought in a bunch of transfers, and he's going to fail all the seniors. All the seniors are going to be like, there's no tape on us. The scouts can't watch us. We don't get played consistently enough in a game. We don't get to show what we actually have. Belichick's fault. And I am hoping today, when you watch other sports shows, I'm hoping they get called out. It's unacceptable. It is unfair to the kids. This is college football, not the NFL, not the pros, not that type of league. This is college football. And the kids deserve better. Do better. They need a chance to go for their dream in the NFL. And you are robbing them of that opportunity. Yeah, I've got some strong feelings on that. I read that story, and I did. I got heated. Think about how you would feel as a parent of one of those kids. You know your kid potentially could be good enough for the NFL, but the head coach isn't going to let the scouts watch it. How would you feel? That's how I feel. My kids are not going to play football professionally. I know this. But it's the same thing. How would I feel if one of them was in soccer and the soccer coach wasn't letting scouts watch them at practice where they show off what they're able to do? You can show off in practice some of the skill sets that you have that don't always come out in the game. And it's important. We'll see how this plays out. But I think it goes downhill really fast. And I believe it's the kids and the parents that are going to step up. And Bill Belichick is going to get a hard dose of reality of, no. You'd start treating people with respect. Your hard-nosedness isn't going to work anymore. It doesn't work. You can pull that crap in the NFL. You can't pull it in college. And this was the fear of Bill Belichick taking over a college football program. Could he actually be a college coach? Guess what, Bill? You're not as good as Nick Saban. Nick Saban was a great college coach. He knew how to do it. And if Nick Saban goes to the NFL, I hope he wins a bunch of Super Bowls and he will be a better coach than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is a great NFL coach. Was a great NFL coach, like I said the other day. He's not anymore. He's not anymore. Nick Saban adapted. Bill Belichick died. Just absolutely. His schemes and processes just died. And in college, they're about to die already. And he's only coached one game. That's it. All right, guys. It's Friday. That is it for this week. Next week, we got a full week. Monday, we're going to recap all the big happenings from this weekend. We had game number 1 last night. Fireworks immediately, literally. We got a game tonight. Have an absolutely fantastic weekend. Make it the best weekend you can and enjoy week number 1 of the NFL season. I appreciate each and every one of you. Subscribe, like the podcast, leave a comment. As always, love you guys. Thank you so much. And that's it. That's it. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk. Have a great Friday. I'm out. Football, week number 1.